Ciara, you have been unfortunate enough to find yourself in this situation in relation to your dog Molly. She was stolen. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we have. Our dog Molly was stolen on the 17th of July from Cappawhite, County Tipperary, just from outside our home in Cappawhite. And I suppose we let them out to go to the toilet. We have a relatively big garden, and our two dogs, we would let them out to go to the toilet. They always come back straight to the door. And Millie came back and Molly didn't. And just after all the dog thefts at the time, we kind of very quickly started to be suspicious that something had happened. And there was no sign of Molly. We called the guards straight away. And it's important to report it. We reported her as stolen. And we've just been searching for her since then. It's been nearly a month now.
That is really, I'm really sorry to hear that. I can't imagine how hard that is, to have your dog, run out to go to the toilet and, not come back. What kind of campaign have you been running, Ciara? Are you putting posters up locally? Is it all online? How are you trying to find her?
So we kind of went straight into business mode as soon as we knew that she was not coming back that night. That it was probably 2 a.m. and we were already on the social media side of it. So we had put up posts on Facebook. The next morning, immediately, we were making posters. So we have posters up locally, but we know that she's not local anymore. So the campaign is mainly on Facebook, and we have thousands and thousands of supporters online, which is amazing. They're sharing it all over Ireland and the UK. And what our main goal is just that someone somewhere will eventually recognise Molly, that her face has just been shown so much. We're not letting her leave your timeline. And maybe someone will have bought her by mistake. They might have bought her as a pet. And we really just hope that someone will recognise her and that they'll be good enough to get her home to us.
Fingers crossed. Ciara, this case of Topsy and Turvy I mentioned there, a happy ending here, but again, very similar. They were taken and their owners just launched this huge campaign. So again, you know, you would have seen their faces of those two dogs constantly on your timeline, and luckily that story has come to a happy ending for them.
Yeah, I did. Shortly after Molly went missing, a couple of days later, I contacted Topsy and Turvy's owners by email, and I have actually been in contact with one of the owners every single day since on WhatsApp, and we've been sending each other different links and connections and trying to crack this whole thing. It's like a trafficking ring, and we did try to crack our cases almost together, and so it's overwhelming news to hear that Topsy is finally back home. And I just know that the owners are delighted about that, but I also know that they're exhausted and that there's still a problem that they do want to keep highlighting it, which is nice. They just haven't kind of exactly. They're still in the same kind of, we need to stop this whole issue.
Yeah. Now talk to me about the whole issue, and we'll come back and talk about Molly again in a moment, because obviously you're dealing with this, you're in the eye of the storm. But this issue, I've been hearing bits and pieces of it as we've gone along. Like I said, I feel like seeing pictures of really cute dogs kind of became a thing during the pandemic. Like there was just more and more notices about stolen dogs. Dundeal announced a few days ago that they're going to stop the buying and selling of dogs on the platform to try and sort of, stop this and kind of put an end there for people, that they won't be able to steal a dog and then put the dog up on Dundeal. I presume you welcomed that news, but was that how all of this was happening?
That they would steal dogs and sell them on Dundeal, is that what you're asking? I think that it has been happening. It's not just that, and that's not the only reason that Dundeal have removed the dog section, but it was almost accommodated by Dundeal, because there was, we'll say, if you're aware of it, there was a function on Dundeal where if you were selling a dog, you would have to put in the dog's microchip number, and that was one of their kind of regulations. But there was no real monitoring of it, and you could put in any random 15-digit number and they would just accept that as a microchip number. And so people were putting in fake chip numbers, and it wasn't really a sealed, airtight operation that they were running. They were almost enabling the sale of stolen dogs. without obviously intending to do it.
Yeah, of course, and I think it was a really welcome move that they have decided to stop doing it. I think that's been welcomed everywhere, and I think it's a step definitely in the right direction. Tell us a little.
Put pressure as well to that these people if they've no platform to sell their dogs on.
It makes it harder. Like, what use is a stolen dog if you can't?
For them,
Tell us a little bit about Molly, Ciara. What kind of a dog is she? What age is she? What colour is she? And where can we see some pictures of her to try and, make sure that we get her little face out there and hope that you are reunited with her?
Yeah, so Molly is a liver and white, so that's a brown and white Springer Spaniel. And she is about 9 years old. So she's an older dog, and we do have her neutered. So she's absolutely no use for breeding. As well as that, her breed would usually be for hunting or farming or things like that. Molly is also gun shy. So as a working dog, which she would have been bred for, she actually is no use. And as a breeding dog, she's no use either. So she's a brown and white 9-year-old Springer Spaniel. She's mainly white on her body with a mostly brown head, and we have all of her information and so many photographs and videos of her all up on Facebook on our page Bring Molly Home. It should probably come up if you type it into Facebook straight away.
Okay, we will check that out and share whatever we can. How are the other dogs, Ciara, coping without her?
So we have one other dog, Millie, and they would just have been so used to each other's company all the time. Millie was about 1 when we adopted Molly, and so for most of Millie's life she's had Molly with her, and when we'd walk them, they'd walk on the leads, but they'd be touching all the time. And when we throw the ball, like, they chase the ball together, we bring them to go swimming together. She's just always had her life with Molly, and so she's just a bit out of sorts. She's out of sorts without her, and we know that she's suffering herself as well. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't understand. And sure, Molly, we can't even imagine what poor Molly is going through, where she is and how she's being treated. That's the hardest part, I think.
Are you hopeful that you'll get her back?
We're very hopeful, and really it's even just to know that Topsy came back yesterday after 6 weeks missing. We've really gotten a kick now, a good push to, someone out there did the right thing. And we'll just hope that someone out there will have Molly and they'll do the right thing as well. We're offering a reward, and we weren't mentioning our price initially, but we've started to mention our reward more and more online, because if this is going to be a situation where they want money, I know it's horrendous to have to do so, but we really, really just care about getting Molly home, and we're willing to pay for her to come back.